Hello peoples! In today's video we're going to be doing some ERT missions solo in the Ares Ion. Now, if you watch this channel you probably already know that we've done this before, and you're probably asking yourself, you know, Tyjex, why are you doing this? This is just a repeat. It's not really a repeat, it's more of an update to some previous videos that I did. Last month I ran a video on the Ares Ion and the Inferno, finally got their mojo back, and that was discussing the fact that CIG had removed that ridiculous accuracy debuff that they put on both ships, and now you can actually hit at what you're aiming at. That video got a lot of comments back, and in those comments there were a few that were suggesting that the Ion just did not have the firepower to be able to do ERTs. Same thing with the Inferno. And so I decided to make this video to set the record straight. You have no problem doing ERTs with this ship, or even the Inferno. So what we're going to do is take a look real quick. Here you can see that it's a default build. The only thing I've done is I've swapped out my missiles with the Chaos 3 missiles because I prefer those. I think they hit harder and they hit more often than most of the other missiles that you're going to see in the game. Other than that, completely stock build. Haven't done anything special here. No, shields or anything like that. No upgrades like that. So with that in mind, go ahead, sit back, relax, get yourself comfortable, get yourself a snack and a drink, and let's get to it. Okay, so for this first ERT, we've got kind of a weird situation. It looks like we've got a double spawn. We've got what appears to be two separate groups. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to whittle this down, take out the first group ships, even though I'm not going to get credit really for them, and then go after my own bounty. In the first group we've got a Cutlass. As you can see, I've already fired off my missiles on it, pretty much blown the first front end stabilizers there off. We've got a Connie that we're going to go after here, a Vanguard, and a Carrack. Now I don't know what it is about Carracks in these ERTs lately, but boy do they have a hard-on for going after you. I get run down by Carracks constantly. It's just weird. And you're going to see that a little bit later on in the video. So here's a good shot. We're going to finish off that Cutlass. It only takes a few salvos from the cannon to take him out. And then we're going to move on to the next target. Now, yes, I used my missiles to do a lot of that damage right off the bat, but that's what you're supposed to do. So we go after this Connie here. Connies I like to go after right off the bat because they're pretty fragile when you're fighting against NPCs. They just don't seem to be able to last long. As you can see, it only took a few hits from that cannon there, and he went pop. There's that Carrack. That Carrack has been the only ship that's been shooting at me with any type of consistency since I've been doing this ERT. So here we get an opportunity to take out a Vanguard Warden. I don't know if maybe there's some lag going on or something. The Vanguard Warden didn't really react too well with me being there, but doesn't matter. He's gone. And now we're going to go after that Carrack. And as you can see, the Carrack's pretty hot on me. He really wants to take me out. I have noticed that they have a tendency to run into you, and if a Carrack runs into you in anything smaller than like a Hercules Starlifter, it's probably going to kill you. So just be aware of it when you're doing the ERTs. They're easy enough to handle. As you can see, we get into a nice comfortable corkscrew on the rear end, and boom, he's done that fast. Not much of an issue here. Now, of course, you do have to hit what you aim at, and I would recommend that you try to stick to one side, one shield facing. I like the rear part. Take the rear down and just keep firing away, trying to avoid any incoming fire from the turrets, and you won't have much of a problem. So now we're going to go after my actual bounty in this. And again, we have another Connie that we're going to go after. I do like having the Connies in here, not only because they're pretty easy to pop, but they have the best kind of cargo that you can loot afterwards, and we'll get into that in a minute. So what we're going to do is soften this guy up, take him out real quick. We're going to switch over to I think this is an A2. Yeah, it's an A2 that we're going to go after. And we're going to kill him. We've got, again, multiple targets. We're going to switch back to the Connie because he's already damaged here, and he, kind of went by, made himself a nice little present for me to take out real quick. And now we're going to go back to the Hercules here. So we're going to do the same thing to the Hercules that we did with the Carrack earlier, and we're just going to get in there and basically get into a nice comfortable rotating corkscrew and just keep firing away. You see his buddy, the C2, is over there trying to shoot at me, but as long as I keep moving, he's not going to really be much of a threat. They're not really going to hit you all that often. So, a couple volleys there, and guess what? We're already through the rear shield of the A2, A2, and now we're causing damage to it, so it's not going to take but just a couple more hits, and now he's down. So now we're going to switch over to the C2 and take him out. Once the C2 is down, we're going to be pretty much done. Now, in 321, they started putting cargo into your targets for the ERTs. And that cargo can be anything. It's randomly generated. But a lot of times, depending upon the ship, wow, a lot of desync there. Depending upon the ship, that cargo can have contraband in it, in the form of drugs and all that kind of stuff. And as a result, while the ERT may pay you $25,000 per single ERT, or 80+ thousand if you get a group ERT, the real money to be made now is in checking out the cargo for the ships that get soft death, so they haven't completely exploded, and they have cargo in them. You can make some serious extra alpha UEC if you do that. So here I followed the A2 all the way down onto the planet that it crashed at, and now I'm going to scan it. Now sometimes the scan will get a little finicky with you, and you may have to reposition a couple times to get the scan to complete and all that kind of stuff. In this case here, we don't have that problem. We're able to scan it, and you can see we've got a little bit of stuff. We got some neon distilled spirits, we got scrap, processed food. Other than that, nothing else. This isn't one that I would really want to try to salvage. Okay, if you're going for maximum efficiency, yeah, grab the drugs and then move on. But it's really not worth the time. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go to the Constellation, one of them that we shot down, and we're going to try and scan this guy. Now, again, scanning is sometimes a little finicky. So you're going to see here, no matter what I do, I'm not going to be able to scan the contents of this Constellation. Now, it landed upside down, which is great. It means that I'll be able to access it. But I try to reposition a couple times, and I can't get the scan to work. Now, I don't recommend that you just leave an unscanned ship, particularly now because of what you can find inside. If this happens to you and your scanner bugs out, get out of your ship and go inspect it. So here, what I'm doing is I'm on top of the Connie. I'm going to jump up here. I'm going to go to the back and hit the cargo elevator call button. It's in the back of the Connie here. And we're going to take a look and see what we get inside. Now, with luck, we're going to get some really good contraband. And as it comes up, we can see that it's definitely got cargo, and I can tell that that small SCU box right there in the front, that's going to be weevil eggs, right? One of the best things to get. So pop on our little tractor beam. Yep, it's weevil eggs. I got to find a place to put this somewhere. And I'm going to empty out this Constellation. Now, that's the neat thing about getting Constellations right now. At least in my experience, probably 90% of the time, they seem to be chock full of contraband. So we've got weevil eggs, we've got Widow, we've got ETAM, just across the board, all the different drugs. As you can see here, these are pretty big cargo containers, and obviously I can't do anything with them because I'm in an IOC, because that's what the video is about, right? So this is where having a buddy is going to really come into play and help you out, make a lot of money in Star Citizen right now running these bounties. You go get the bounties, you run them, you have a friend that follows you from, a safe distance, and when you find some decent cargo like this, you empty it out, they load it up. Now, obviously, because we have the 24 SCU cargo containers here, you're going to want something kind of big. A C1 will be able to fit a couple of these in its cargo bay. If you have access to a Caterpillar, that'll work. If you have access to a C2 or an M2 or an A2, those will work too. You'll be able to stack these up, and then you'll be able to turn your 25,000 Alpha UEC bounty into, you know, at the very least a couple 100,000 bounty, but more than likely a few million or even more. If you're out doing a whole run during, you know, an evening, like on a Friday night with your org mates, you can easily make, you know, 10, 12 million credits by selling off these contraband items at the salvage yard. So now back onto the main point of the video that you can definitely do, you know, ERTs. We're on to the second one. This is the one that's going to be a little bit more in line with what you normally get. Instead of having two ERTs that were kind of on top of each other, we just have a single group. We've got, again, a Connie, really good ship here. I'm going to use my missiles to soften it up because I like to do that. And you're going to see here the flight of missiles that I just shut off there basically took the Connie shields right down. I'm going to follow it up. All four are going to hit because they're Chaos 3 missiles. Really good missiles. Like I said, I really like these. And we're already doing some hull damage there. There's a little bit of red on the Connie. We're just going to keep peppering him a little bit, kind of get the odds even. You can see here that we already have a Carrack that's going to go zooming by, shooting at us, because again, they're, for some reason, they have a hair up their butt and they're really going after you. We also have a Reclaimer and a Hammerhead in this group. So here comes the Reclaimer on the upper part of the screen passing by. I'm just going to fire off the rest of my missiles because I want to empty them all out. But look at all the damage that I'm doing with my missiles there. It only took 1 or 2 shots from the cannon to, you know, finish off the job there. So now we're going to turn around. The Reclaimer here is the closest one. You can see there goes the Carrack whizzing by trying to get me again. And I'm going to do the same thing. It's rinse and repeat, right? We get on the aft section of the Reclaimer. We start doing a little corkscrew here. Now we got the Hammerhead that's joined in trying to shoot me down. It only takes a couple pops and, you know, the Reclaimer's gone. And right now what I'm going to do is, my shields are getting a little low, so what I'm going to do is create some distance and let my shields get back up in their strength. So I'm going to switch over to 100% shield power and open up the distance here. So as you can see, the Hammerhead is behind us, but sure as shit, here comes that Carrack, man. He's only 2 kilometers out and he's charging fast. And there he goes, he's whizzing by. So this is actually going to work in my favor. You know, because the Carrack was so hell-bent on, you know, running me down, we've created some distance between us and the Hammerhead. The Hammerhead's going to have to go full bore to try and catch up, and they don't turn on a dime. So I'm going to close in that distance on the Carrack. I'm going to use that separation to my advantage, and I'm going to start working on it. And as we start firing on him, there's the Hammerhead on the left side that goes whizzing by. By the time he gets turned around, he's going to be 4 kilometers away, I guarantee it. So now I'm going to, again, settle in a nice little corkscrew. You know, CIG's done a pretty good job at increasing the reaction of the NPCs. They're using a little bit better tactics now, but they're still NPCs. They can't hit anything that is not doing the norm, right? So if you're flying straight and level at a constant speed, you deserve to get killed. You want to constantly be changing your speed. You want to constantly be changing your pitch. Boy, again, really big desync there. You want to get into a nice little corkscrew pattern because they have a really hard time hitting you in that, and as you can see, it didn't take long for me to take the Carrack down. So now we're just down to the Hammerhead. Now, a player manned Hammerhead, I would not recommend that you go after. They're going to rip you a new one. But an NPC manned Hammerhead, this is easy stuff for an Ion or even an Inferno. Now, I prefer the Ion right now because that cannon hits really hard and you don't have much of a problem timing your shots to hit on the target. The Inferno, while it will cut through, you know, it's a ballistic cannon, so or a ballistic Gatling gun, it will cut through the shields. They're smaller projectile rounds, so you've got to maintain more of those rounds hitting the target. And when you're trying to do a lot of evasive maneuvers, sometimes that's just not going to work out too well for you. So I prefer the single shot cannon for right now. So we're going to do the same thing, rinse and repeat. Nothing hard here. We're going to get into a nice little corkscrew orbit. The hammerhead is going to be able to hit you a couple times, but you don't need to worry. Just watch your shields. If they get red, pull out, charge up. If not, continue to press your attack. You can see we've already gotten the rear shield down. I concentrate most of my firepower on the rear side of the hammerhead because I don't want to spread it out. And before too long, you know, we're already doing hull damage to it. He's not going to last long. There he goes. He's popped. And just like everything else, go ahead, scan your ship. It's obviously a lot more easy to remove the cargo from a ship that's in space than it is crashed on the ground, because they may land in a way that you just can't get access to the ship. Here you've got access no matter what. It's been my experience so far, hammerheads don't really seem to have the best cargo. A lot of times it's like distilled spirits. They may have one small box of illicit drugs or some type of contraband like weevil eggs, right? The Connies seem to have the best and the most. The Hercules also, it's hit or miss with them. A lot of times they will have a ton of slam or maybe ETAM, right? And by a ton, I mean literally like 5 of those big, huge 24 SEU cargo boxes. So that's it for the video. I think we've put that myth, you know, to rest. Ion, no problem doing ERTs. And hopefully I gave you some pointers on how to make a little bit more Alpha UEC when you're doing these. If you liked the video, and I hope you did, hit that like, subscribe, and notify. And until next time, take care.